coronavirus is understandably causing a lot of stress, and we know that things may feel very uncertain right now. If you have a habit of binge eating or supporting someone who does, you might have specific worries or practical concerns about it. Our next therapist is here to guide you through this.
Hello everybody, I am Gauri and welcome to this question answer session. Actually, it's not much of a question answer session, but yes, this is definitely a response to all the questions that you have been putting up to Impulse. What I would like to really thank you about is the fact that the questions that have come to us are very, very important and relevant in today's times, because these are issues and concerns which a lot of us are facing, and lot of queer and trans people are facing. So I'm glad that these questions have come up. We are hoping that we will be able to respond to them in a way so that it's of some use to you. So I want to actually address this particular concern. I do not want to call it a problem or an issue, but yes, this concern, which I'm sure a lot of us are facing today, it may not be a result of an eating disorder. It might well just also be a result of being confined in the four walls and not being able to get out there. So yeah, so I want to approach this a little differently, this question. First and foremost, see, all of us are in this together, and we are all facing this particular situation of COVID-19 and the resultant lockdown, and it is unprecedented. Let's just admit that it is unprecedented. We have never ever faced a situation like this. So obviously preparedness is suspect. I mean, nobody would have thought that this is what is going to happen. And now with the lockdown having extended to 3rd of May, the levels of anxiety, I'm sure, would have escalated. So yes, so all of us are in confinement, and all of us are responding in very many different ways to this confinement. So I'm sure you must be also following social media and what all has been showing on TV, for example, or even the e-newspapers that are going around, about how some people are completely okay with it. They're fine with all this, with this not having to go out there, and happy within themselves, trying to do different things, getting back in touch with themselves, cultivating hobbies and all that. So yes, that's great, that's wonderful. But for those of us who are already facing a lot of isolation, discrimination, harassment, abuse, violence in their lives, these times can and are, I'm sure, very trying, and I mean, like all humans do, there is some response to that. Now this response often turns out to be an emotional response, like anxiety, stress, tensions, fear, sadness, panic, and which ultimately also translates into physical manifestations in terms of fatigue, in terms of depression, in terms of muscle pain, So, and behaviors. So, so I'm coming to this behavior aspect because of the question that has been asked, and that is about eating excessively, binge eating. So, yeah. So let's look at this in this fashion, that yes, we are going through times which we've never faced before. So these are uncertain times, not just in the present, but also it's completely uncertain in terms of our future. So in such kind of situations, we have our emotional response and we have our behavioral response. So our emotional response, let's just take it from there, because usually our behavioral response is a fallout of our emotional response. So like I said in the beginning, these I think the first step that we could be looking at, therefore, is what are the emotions we are going through. So and the emotions that I'm hearing also, and I'm also gathering from the questions that have come to us, is a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of a lot of distress, and a sense of oh, I don't know what's going to happen now, kind of a scenario. So yes, those are the feelings that we are going through. Many of us are going through. So probably the first step towards managing this is to accept these feelings. So not to badger ourselves about the fact that, oh my god, what am I feeling, this is not correct, and and anxiety is not what I should feel, and I should have been better prepared, and I'm feeling this fear, so I don't know what it is going to pan out to. So the first step is to accept the fact that yes, I am feeling this. Yes, I'm feeling this, and yes, this feeling that I'm having is completely valid. But what's happening today is we don't know. We don't know what we are going to be doing next. So yes, we are trying to work from home. For those of us who are working, for those of us who are homemakers, for example, they are trying to do things in their own way, by having some order to their lives. Students are trying to work out their ways. So yes, we are trying to get certainty in different ways in our life, but our main resource of going out there and getting in touch with people and activities out there is completely shut for us. So yes, feeling anxious and feeling afraid is valid. So just tell yourself that first. Okay. So now what do we do when we are faced with such situations? We obviously access some of our coping mechanisms, and we all have different coping mechanisms, and all are equally valid and equally useful because they are working for us. So yes, but all those coping mechanisms that we have known for ourselves are not available to us today, simply because we can't go out, simply because we cannot physically do certain things which have worked for us earlier, but now they are not possible for us. So the question to ask ourselves is, which is the resource that is available to us today? And my answer to this would be me. I am the resource who's available to me at all times today. So why not make use of that resource? Okay. So to access this resource, right? Now, how to do that, or rather, how and what do I mean when I say access this resource? So let me take this a little on another track. Okay, let's look at this lockdown as a tunnel. We are entering when we entered the lockdown, we entered in a certain way, and we are all going to come out in a certain way. Now we entered in a certain way, and when we're looking at how we're going to be coming out of it, it's up to us to decide how I want myself to be when I come out of this lockdown. So if you look at this entire lockdown period and this COVID-19 situation as a tunnel through which we are passing through, please let yourself know and remind yourself and allow yourself to acknowledge this, that how I come out of this is entirely up to me. And if it is up to me, how can I make this work? So probably a good idea or a good way to do is to look at the things that in two different ways. One is, of course, those things which are not in my control, which is the pandemic, the lockdown, the extent of the lockdown, the duration of the lockdown, how other people are responding to it, how my people around me, maybe family, maybe friends, whoever we are living with, are responding to it. It's not in my hands, but what is in my hands is what I can do. Like, for example, I can exercise, I can eat well, I can nourish my body, I can keep myself fit. There are many videos out there to do some kind of exercise at home. How I can uplift my mood, maybe by accessing some interests, some hobbies, some things that you have not been doing for some time. Doing these kind of activities which are in your control are certain things that you can have a list of and access those in times of anxiety and fear. Now I am coming back to the question that was asked about binge eating and eating excessively. Now that again, binge eating is also to a response to all this stuff that we are facing. So probably so that's the behavior aspect of it, that we are unable to control, and we just keep going for the food without knowing that we need to stop, but we don't. So some mechanisms or some methods that we can apply are probably stuff like you could maybe have a plan in terms of time slots when you will eat. Have smaller portions stored. Okay, it's difficult today because people are stocking up like crazy, and we have more than what's necessary at home, and then the chances of us actually eating more or accessing it more and consuming more are higher. But yes, we can do that. We can store in portions so that we can access only that much. Okay, and I think third very important thing is to enlist people around us, to check on us. So and people that we whom we trust, and maybe they can check on us, or when the urge arises, the impulse arises, we can go out and basically go and talk to them, engage with them in certain manner by some activity, maybe just reaching out to them, by spending time with them, which will probably you can tide over this particular impulse. So so that is another thing that we can do. So to remember, of course, first and foremost is that this entire binge eating is because of a certain emotion that we are feeling, and that can be that can be controlled by maybe using these mechanisms. You can use mechanisms that work for you best. Again, not to badger yourself if you are not able to do it fully or to the extent that you would want it to be, but yes, an attempt can be made. Okay, now what I would want to actually end with here, therefore, is that just remind yourself about a couple of things. And those things, well, I've written them down, probably you can just have a look at them. That yeah, there you go. So remind yourself that these are uncertain times, and it is okay to feel whatever you're feeling, the anxiety and fear and panic that you're feeling. It is okay to feel that. I am available to myself at all times, and who and what can hold my torchlight for me while I'm in the tunnel. So those people, those activities which are going to be of use to you and which work for you are going to be your allies in this time of distress and uncertainty. So I would like to end with this for this particular video. I hope I have been able to give you some direction, or I hope this answer was useful. Thank you.